Well, the European Championships begin in under a month, June 11th to be exact, and the Netherlands will be without Virgil van Dijk. He announced that he'll miss the tournament. Back in October, tore his ACL, had to have surgery, hasn't played with Liverpool, obviously, since then, wants to be ready for the season next year. So, Ollie, what kind of hole does this leave in the Netherlands lineup?
I think it's a big miss. I can't say I feel a ton of confidence in the Netherlands right now. I can't say I feel a ton of confidence in Frank de Boer as a manager who really hasn't had any success since he left Ajax and has been in various places around the world, obviously Atlanta United most recently. And I know people will say, well, centre-back is actually a strong position for the Netherlands. They've got De Ligt, they've got Stefan de Vrij from Inter who can step in. It's still a good partnership. But for me, when you're looking at that Dutch lineup, the one area where you could really say this is as good as anyone in the world, maybe better than anyone in the world, was that centre-back pairing of Van Dijk and De Ligt. And in losing him, losing that kind of figure in your defence and in the squad as a whole, I think it's going to hurt them. And as I say, I'm not particularly optimistic about what I'm going to see from the Netherlands at this tournament.
But they do have an easy group. They probably have the easiest group in the entire tournament. Ukraine, decent. North Macedonia, Ollie's adopted nation for this tournament, I guess. Austria. I do think that it's rather straightforward for this team. You're right, De Ligt is a wonderful player, one of the top center backs in the world. This is a blow, but I kind of look at the Netherlands as a team that their better days are ahead. They have a number of very young players who are coming through, who are going to be impact players come 2024 or the 2026 World Cup. I think that's more their time. Van Dijk certainly would have given them a better chance this tournament. I think that they'll get through the group, but I'm not sure how much further they'll go. But a lot of teams are going to be impacted by injury. Harry Maguire's in a walking boot. That looks horrible for England. N'Golo Kante's banged up. Anthony Martial hasn't been playing. And France is going to be counting on players like that as well. So they're not the only side that are going to be dealing with potentially catastrophic injuries.
Gareth, I don't know if you can find a photo booth and do a quick little change and have Gareth Gecko come out, because we need your alter ego here as we make some predictions when it comes to the European Championship. So why don't we do just that? Who do you think is going to win Euros? Because when you look at some of these betting sites, which we'll get to in a second, I won't show you that just yet. So how about we get your thought first before I show you that one?
Okay. Gareth Gecko here with my prediction.
Oh my God.
I know they're in the group of death, but I would invest heavily in Portugal. Portugal's the play here. We know Germany's form. I mentioned some players who might be injured when it comes to the French national team, but Portugal's where it's at. Think about this. Cristiano Ronaldo and his 103 goals for country leading the line with Bernardo Silva. Always underrated for Manchester City. Diego Jota continues to light it up for Liverpool. João Felix is coming off the bench. Bruno Fernandes in behind as creator. They have some good, powerful midfielders with maybe the best center back, the best defender in all the Premier League this season with Diaz and his Man City partner in Cancelo in defense. I cannot find a weakness in this Portuguese side, and I think they're being downplayed, or played down, I should say, based upon the group that they're in. That shouldn't be the case. They're the most talented, well-rounded side at this summer's tournament.
They're talented. Whether they can fit it all together is the question, I think, for Portugal. But I'm going to go with my head here.
Last time around.
Yeah, with nothing like this kind of squad. They had Eder coming off the bench and scoring then. I think fitting all these pieces together is going to be the challenge in some ways, even though they are far more talented than 2016. But I'm going to go with what my head says, which is France. They've proven they can win tournaments, obviously, been to 2 finals in a row. Let the record show that I have said France, and I'm being sensible and looking at Kanté and Mbappe and all of those things. What my heart is saying is England. This has got to be such a good opportunity for England, okay? Harry Kane is in the best form of his career. Phil Foden is looking like, instead of just being a young player with promise, he can be a real difference maker at this tournament. Gareth Southgate, I think, is the right man who knows what it takes to win a tournament and has shown signs that other England managers haven't. The big question mark is Harry Maguire. They've got to get him fit. If he's not fit, there is no real easy replacement there to play next to John Stones in defence. But I think for once, England are always the favourites because a lot of people bet on them and they usually shouldn't be. I think for once, they might actually be the favourites with the team that they have going into this tournament. So I don't want to say it. I don't want to be put on the record as saying England.
It's coming.
But maybe this is the time.
They've never won it. So Gareth takes the glasses off. We probably need Platt in a hat. So maybe you could just put your hat on when you do this segment here, Ollie. But what would be a good, a good value bet, Ollie? I mean, are you going to take the favorite? Yeah, I mean, obviously you say France, that's your prediction. But if you're making a bet, do you take the favorite England? Do you take the field?
I'm not going to take the favourite. Looking at those odds there, I think Italy are too far out in terms of the fields. They may not have that one kind of superstar that you can look at, but I don't know that a lot of teams that win tournaments are really built around a big superstar in that way. What they do have is quality in every position, depth from back to front. They've got a lot of intelligent players, some young talent coming through. I wish that Zaniolo, the kid from Roma, hadn't had that second big injury, because I think this could be a real breakout season and tournament for him, and he'll be a miss. But I like that team. I think there's quality throughout, as I said, and Roberto Mancini is a very, very good manager. So Italy, I think, I don't know if I would say that they're a top 2 or 3 team that I'd pick to win this tournament, but I don't think they should be as far out in the betting as they are behind the Netherlands. So they'd be my value pick.
I love Italy as well. That midfield, Ollie, I don't think we all know the defensive players for Italy, but Locatelli, Barella, I love Pellegrini, not to mention Verratti back fit, Jorginho. They're stacked in the midfield. So I agree with that. The only other team I'd add to that equation is Spain. If Laporte, this change of association goes through and Laporte can play for Spain, are you kidding me, at center back with Ramos? Look out. The Spain team is red hot coming into the tournament as well. That plus 900, Gareth Gecko likes those odds.
I like, by the way, how I'm taking all the credit for you guys picking Italy, because I'm like, well, of course. But I have absolutely nothing to do with the team, except I'm just a big fan. Back to Gecko. Who would you bet on, Gareth, to win the Golden Boot? Woo! Make a prediction there.
See, everyone tries to find these sexy players to go on and win the Golden Boot. What about Cristiano Ronaldo? I'm going with Ronaldo. Why not? I already mentioned 103 goals for the national team. He scored 3 goals in the last European Championship. And you know that he wants to finish the job. He finished the last tournament on the bench, watching through injury in that final against France. I think he's going to be the key figure, the main man at this tournament for the side that I think is going to be the best. He scored 11 goals in Euro qualifying as well. I think after a frustrating club season, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. A big tournament from CR7. Why not? I think it's going to happen. He's going to be your Golden Boot winner.
Yeah, I tend to look for a team that I think is going to go deep, but might be a little bit too reliant on one guy who ends up scoring a lot of goals because the team is built around him. And I kind of see that with Lukaku and Belgium, so he'd be my pick. I just think Hazard's not the player he was a year or 2 ago. Dries Mertens, same thing. I think Belgium have gone from looking like a very, very stacked, talented attacking team to really leaning on this guy quite a lot, and he's having a great season, so he might fit the bill, I think.